Welcome to Bits of Wit, Wit Incorporated's new web series bringing you tasty morsels of theatre throughout this winter time of isolation. I'm Elle Boydell and I'm a company member with Wit Incorporated. I'd first like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which Wit Incorporated meets, creates and connects, the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung and Bunurong people of the Kulin Nation. We acknowledge their sovereignty and generations of care, maintenance and custodianship of this unceded land. We pay deep respect to elders past, present and emerging, and extend our respect to First Peoples across Australia. Wit Incorporated is an award-winning independent theatre company based in Melbourne's West. We're excited about creating accessible, sustainable theatre that values inclusion and proper representation. And right now, we're excited to share with you Bits of Wit, your favourite original scenes, reimagined for the screen and created for you to enjoy at home. Bits of Wit is supported by Maribyrnong Arts and Culture and created Brimbank. We're grateful for these councils' ongoing support of independent arts. In just a minute, we'll be premiering our very first Bit of Wit, and I'll invite you to stick around after the video when I'll be joined by its fantastic creator for a brief Q&A. In the meantime, I'll invite you to please like this video and subscribe to our channel. It'll help others find it and will help Wit Incorporated share our stories with a wider audience. If you love what we do and want to see independent local theatre emerge strongly out of this period of disruption, please also consider donating to Wit Incorporated. Any dollar you can spare will help us pay creative professionals for their hard and valuable work. And as we're a deductible gift recipient, it might also help you save on your tax. Details of how to donate are in the video description. And now, without further ado, I'll invite you to settle back and enjoy our very first Bit of Wit, facing the future.
I'm so thrilled that y'all are here facing the future with me today. Y'all know how much I love it when y'all send me your email letters. And it seems to me that a lot of y'all reckon you're doing quite well during this time of quarantine. Well, I've been praying and reflecting and meditating on that, and I hope and I pray that someday real soon, y'all will be just as productive as y'all reckon y'all are. For today's teaching, I feel blessed and highly honored to be reflecting with you on potential. Y'all know I was once just like y'all are now. I was full of hope, full of dreams, full of potential. Every day was filled with light. My future was blindingly bright. All I saw was tomorrow. It's a lot of pressure, ain't it? But y'all know I was saved. Oh, sweet Jesus, I was saved. I was saved by the blessing of depression, by the piety of anxiety. And my life was changed forever. I was suffering. I was drenched in doubt. I was purified by pain. I was distilled into darkness. I was born anew. And you all can claim your pain and shame for just 3 easy payments of hope, dreams, and self-esteem. Now, I believe that each and every one of y'all deserves to suffer, and I want to help y'all get there. Do not meditate. Do not follow the advice of medical professionals. Resist the temptation of a healthy lifestyle. Regular exercise and clean eating are not your friends' praised cheeses. Avoid all contact with your family and friends. Do not tell them that you love them. Every act of kindness is a blow against anxiety, a blow against depression. Now, I can teach you to turn from the temptation of the light for just 3 easy payments of hope, dreams, and self-esteem. Send them on through and I will return to you anxiety and depression in a special comorbidity package. I will wash away your joy and I will give you back pain and confusion and loneliness, and I will lead you into suffering because you deserve to suffer. I'm Hope Keller, and I'm here for you.
Hey, welcome back. I hope you're feeling inspired. I'm joined now by Jennifer Piper, the creator and performer behind Hope Keller. This is our chance to have a chat and hear from JP about the process. We'd love to hear your questions. Please pop them in the chat box and we'll try and get to them. But first off, JP, I think I need to ask a question that's on everyone's mind. How long were you working on that Texan drawl?
One of my love specialties, I don't know, is linguistics and dialects, and for obvious reasons, more in English than anything else. Oh, that earring's gone. And I think one of the great things, one of the terrible things, I don't know, about American imperialism and globalization and the fact that we are a relatively small component in the great wealth of British colonialism is we're exposed to accents and dialects really early. So not ages, but also about 40 years. What I did find, what I did find with this particular iteration is because of her character, I found myself using other pieces of accent and dialect from nearby regions. So I would rehearse and hear myself sounding all of a sudden like I was from Louisiana or something. So while the accent is still not perfect, and I thank all Texans and Tennesseans for their patience, I love a dialect.
And tell us a little bit about where the inspiration for Hope and her rather unique brand of evangelical teaching came from.
So this bit of script was originally created for that time everything went well and we were totally fine, which was is a show that Belinda Campbell and I wrote. We had a creative residency at Bluestone Church Art Space in Footscray. Thank you, Arts and Culture Maribyrnong. And then we got to have another one, a more intensive one. It was a funded residency at the Bowery Theatre in St Albans. Thank you, Creative Brimbank. And in that one, we worked with a fantastic human being called Kate Hood, who came in as a director and dramaturg, and we were working through and figuring out what was there, and we kept coming back to this idea that maybe there could be, I don't know, some kind of churchy thing, or could there be this, or where can we get this kind of idea of what you're doing is terrible but it's your fault-ish, you know, how can we make this more brutal? Comedy 101. And so this preacher in an evangelical megachurch grew out of that idea. And it was sort of that idea of convincing people, knowing that you can save them, but what you're offering them isn't actually particularly helpful. So then Hope, who was born specifically for Bits of Wit, came about as the translation from stage to screen, because I didn't have a live audience. It's not happening in the context of sketch comedy. So on stage, I can just stick a sash on and a theatre audience will go with you. So I thought, well, you know, if it's on screen, then it's probably a televangelist rather than a preacher. And I watched a lot of televangelist clips on YouTube, and read a whole lot of positivity only type blogs, and then recovered. And yeah, it's that idea of offering salvation, be that through behaviour or attitude or whatever, and that isn't necessarily helpful or good. And also, you know, it's a great excuse to put on 16 kilos of hair and do a Texan drawl. Investigate the difference between y'all, all y'all, and you all.
I mean, they're very diverse phrases.
Right?
You referenced the difference between throwing on a sash versus putting on quite so much hair and makeup. Tell us, JP, back to the serious question.
Yes.
What did take longer, the hair or the makeup?
In terms of actually affixing the items to my person, makeup for sure, because you know, you need that shadow to be perfect. You got to have a perfect crease, right? But that hair, it's 4 sets of hair pieces. The most extensive set, I think, has got about 12 pieces in it, and they're all different textures, so they all had to be curled. There was a lot of experimentation. Turns out, lightly dampening the hair, brushing it, rolling it flat around a toilet roll, and then placing it in front of the gas heater is the winner.
Sounds like that hair is really just a character in and of itself, isn't it?
It is.
There's a real darkness, obviously, to so much that Hope actually says, but the piece overall is 100% such a comedy. How do you go about working with that contradiction of light and dark?
Brutal comedy is kind of my jam. I really enjoy storytelling that blurs the boundaries. So if we're talking about, and you know, drama, in the true sense of the word, doesn't mean serious, it just means fictional. So this, it's the line between comedy and tragedy, and there's the classic, I suppose, adage that comedy is just tragedy plus timing, or tragedy plus perspective. But for me, I love storytelling that messes with the edges of what's historical, what's fictional. I mean, all history is fiction because somebody decided that was the truth and then they wrote it down. I love comedy that's really dark, and I love tragedy that's bittersweet and makes you smile ruefully. And in writing this piece, another amazing woman that we worked with on the Bowery show, well, on both shows actually, Avery Hutley, incredible comedian. And she was the one who a couple of times said, yeah, it's good, it needs to be meaner. You're just at the edge and you need to go about 16 paces further into darkness for it to be funny. And that's sometimes it. And you know, when I'm doing it, it doesn't seem funny. It's really serious. I don't want anyone to feel crushed under the weight of their own potential. I want to help them, you know?
Oh, really finding a dark side to you yourself there. And speaking of darkness, perhaps not, how has the current context of isolation affected you when you've been working creatively?
Yeah, it's a weird one, you know. I mean, for something like this, it's just outrageous how much you can stretch your knowledge. Thank goodness that we live in a time of digital information and the internet. I've done a lot of Google searches on various things because, of course, I mean, I live alone. Well, I live with a tiny dog who's too short to be seen on screen. She's here on her chair. She's not a very good filming assistant, though. So, yeah, in this context, there's weird things like, how do you check framing if you're on screen? And who do you get to give you feedback? Lancey Fong, who, of course, we will see the first Lancey Bit of Wit next week, has been unbelievably patient and helpful with setting up video calls between the two of us so we could check each other's stuff. But yeah, in terms of making new things, it's a weird double-edged sword, this lockdown, because as artists, we spend so much energy on things other than our job. Most of us have got day jobs. If we do get paid for our artistic work, it's usually for the outcome. It's not for the creative development, which is the biggest bit. That is the bulk of the work. And so in a time like this, when within 3 days you've lost all of your work, all you have left is time. So on these little glimmering islands of time where one is able to forget or put to one side the fact that we're in a pandemic and all of the other hideous things that continue to happen, there was time and space to invent and create and think. And I started making dioramas again, which I hadn't done since, I don't know, my pre-teens, early teens. That's turning into a whole other character and web series, and translating At Home with Anxiety, which we'll see in a fortnight, for screen has also sparked the beginnings of translating it to a cabaret. So yeah, space has been great. Loneliness and isolation and lack of creative community is difficult. And no money. I mean, less than our normal, yeah.
Well, I guess it's all back to lightness and dark working together. But on the kind of optimistic note of glimmering moments of time,
yeah.
I'll say thank you, JP, for sharing some of your experience of creating this piece. And thank you to all of you for joining our first ever online opening night. You'll be able to watch Back Over Hope again to really get the benefit of all of those teachings. You can find the video on our social media, this time with accurate captions in both English and Taiwanese Chinese. In the meantime, please like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel and spread the word. Because we do, of course, have more to come. Join us at the same time next week for the launch of our second Bit of Wit. Of course, I speak French by the superb Lancey Fong. She'll bring wisdom with a slightly different flair. We'll really hope to see you then.
Cheers.
Cheers.